My boyfriend left me sitting for 2 hours at an upscale restaurant on our anniversary. When he finally strolled in with his buddies, he announced, "See? Told you she'd wait like a pathetic puppy." They all laughed. We'd been together 3 years, and I'd just finished paying off his car. I smiled, ordered another drink, and said nothing. This morning my phone shows 78 missed calls, and his stuff is now tied up in garbage bags headed for the dump. Randy and I met 3 years ago after my apartment flooded because the upstairs neighbor left a tub running all weekend. Seriously, who does that? I stayed at my brother's while repairs were underway, and Randy was the plumber assigned to fix everything. Each visit he found another issue, something I now suspect was just an excuse to see me again. Back then, I thought it was charming. Now I wonder if he dragged it out on purpose. Still, I remember how easy he was to talk to, which is rare for me. I'm awkward with new people. By the end of year one, we'd moved in together after 8 months. Too soon, I know, because his lease was ending and the finances made sense. He worked as a plumber, but couldn't keep steady income. There was always drama with employers. He'd be fired for lateness or quit because his bosses were idiots who didn't value him. That was the first glaring red flag one I completely ignored. Meanwhile, he flooded my telegram with long, furious voice notes about his boss, calling him a brainless monkey, mocking his accent and clothes, claiming he ran the whole place without credit. I saved those messages in my favorites, sometimes even downloading the worst ones. I didn't know why I kept them. Maybe part of me knew they'd matter. He spoke the same way about his parents, especially when they refused him money. He'd send vile recordings calling his dad a pathetic excuse for a man, and his mom a woman who can't think for herself. Once, after they declined to help with his car, he sent a 5-minute tirade about how they were failures and an embarrassment. I remember feeling sick hearing it, and still, I saved it. By year 2, I was covering most of our bills. My job isn't glamorous, but it's stable. And I kept telling myself relationships have seasons. Sometimes one person carries more until the other catches up. Randy swore he just needed one break and everything would change. 6 months ago, his 2015 Mustang died way outside his budget. He was crushed. It was his dream car, and he needed reliable transportation for work. I foolishly offered to help, thinking it would stabilize him. I ended up taking over the entire note 386 a month, which was a big strain for me, but I convinced myself it was for us. Edit. A lot of people ask why I paid for his car. In hindsight, it's obvious. In the moment, it felt practical. We lived together, shared bills, and without a car, he couldn't keep a job. He was also extremely emotional about losing his baby. Last night, our 3-year anniversary, I'd just made the final payment the week before, which nearly broke my budget. I booked a fancy spot downtown we'd always wanted to try. Translation, I couldn't truly afford it. But I stretched. I got fully ready new dress, hair, everything, and arrived at 7:00 p.m. He texted that he was running late and told me to get seated. By 7:30, I'd sent 3 texts, no reply. By 8:00, 2 calls went straight to voicemail. The server kept checking in, should I order, reschedule? I sat there insisting, he's just stuck in traffic, while staring at my phone every 2 minutes. At 8:45, nearly 2 hours alone, Randy finally showed up with 4 friends. No miscommunication. He'd never mentioned bringing anyone. They swarmed the table, laughing, clearly buzzed. Then, and I still can't believe this, he turned to them and announced, loud enough for nearby tables, "Told you she'd still be here like a pathetic puppy. 2 hours and she didn't leave." They howled. Jake, the jerk friend, said, "You weren't kidding, she's well trained." More laughter. Randy dropped into the seat beside me, squeezed my cheeks like I was a toddler, and said, "This is why she's the best. Most girls would have stormed out. Mine pays my bills and waits like a good girl." Then, with a smirk, "Ah, did you think this was a romantic dinner? That's cute. We've got poker after this. I just needed to make sure you were good for the next payment." When I stayed quiet, he grabbed my chin and turned my face toward him. "Hello?" Earth to my name. "You're pathetic sometimes. Say something or just sit there like a sad puppy." His friends cackled. I couldn't breathe. 3 years together, nearly 12K to clear his car. And that's what he thought of me? A doormat? The server approached, mortified, and asked about ordering. I somehow smiled and said, "Another glass of wine first." He and his friends ordered pricey appetizers and cocktails, tossing in jokes about my patience and how lucky he was to have someone so understanding. He even told the server, "Don't bring her food, she's watching her figure. Couple more pounds, and we'll need a bigger table." Laughter again. I burned. When my wine came, I took a slow sip, set the glass down, and said I needed the restroom. He barely noticed he was busy performing a story about his idiot boss. In the mirror, I stared at myself for 5 minutes. No tears. Not even anger yet. Just finished. 3 years of excuses. 3 years of carrying us. 3 years of ignoring sirens. And this was the truth of what he thought. So I chose a different exit. No scene, no yelling, no thrown drinks. He didn't deserve drama, he deserved precision. I opened Telegram and scrolled those saved voice notes, him smearing his boss as incompetent and a fraud, and vicious rants about his parents. I had dozens. I texted my friend Emma, who lives nearby. Can you pick me up in 10? I returned to the table, smiled, excused myself for a work call, and on the way out, quietly paid only for my wines. I told the server the gentleman would cover the rest. I got in Emma's car and blocked Randy before he noticed I was gone. And I didn't stop at blocking. After years of handling his tech headaches, I had access to his email, cloud, banking, for those car payments, and socials all credentials he gave me. I know exactly how to share information efficiently. That was last night. This morning, 78 missed calls from unfamiliar numbers, probably his friends, and a glorious stream of frantic texts from his work phone, begging me to talk, insisting it was just a joke, and demanding, "What did you do?" What did I do? I'll detail it tomorrow when I have time. Short version. His boss and his parents woke up to some very illuminating Telegram voice clips. And that beloved car? When you halt the final payment and provide documentation of deception, lenders take repossession very seriously. More soon. I've got to finish packing his things for their new address, the city dump. Edit. Thanks for the support. Yes, this is real. And legally, I'm fine. Everything I did was within my rights. I'll explain more in my next update. Got it. Here's a faithful rewrite that keeps the same meaning, order, and advice decisions in the exact same places, just retold in different words. First update. After Emma scooped me up from the restaurant, I was oddly composed. No tears, which is unusual for me. I cry at dog food ads. I think I was numb. Emma kept checking on me while I stared out the window, mentally replaying all the voice notes from Randy I'd stored over the years. Once we got to the apartment, the dam broke full-on ugly cry, mascara streaks and all. Emma sat with me, brought cookie dough ice cream, my favorite, and just let me unload for 2 hours. Near midnight, Randy started spamming my phone. First came the rage. Where did you go? You really left me with the bill? Then came faux concern. Are you safe? Please text me. By 1 a.m., he'd moved on to paragraphs about it being only a joke, and me overreacting. Classic gaslighting. I ignored him. Instead, I did what I do best, made a list of every account I could access. His email, I helped with job searches. His Instagram, he constantly forgot the password. His iCloud, logged on my laptop when his died. Our Spotify family plan, I paid. His banking app for the car payments. Our Netflix, also on my dime. Yes, it's wild he handed me the keys to his entire digital life, but for the first time in ages, I felt some control. And to be clear, he gave me those passwords. No hacking. On maybe 3 hours of sleep, I started with the car. The final payment I'd sent last week was still pending. I called the bank and reported it as paid under false pretenses. They asked for proof, so I sent screenshots where Randy admits the car is his alone, plus a voice clip of him bragging that I cover his bills. After a long hold, they said they'd reverse it while they investigated. Meanwhile, Randy rang 15 times. Voicemails swung from fury to apologies and back again. In one, he said I was ruining our anniversary, the one where he showed up 2 hours late with his buddies to mock me. Sure, Jan. Around noon, I combed through more accounts. I found texts showing they'd planned the restaurant stunt days in advance. Jake wrote, "Can't wait to see her face when you tell her it's not a real anniversary dinner." And Randy replied, "She'll just sit and take it like always." There were flirty email threads with a coworker, Amber, going back months. And in Google Drive, a recording of Randy and Jake laughing about me being his sugar mama, and that he'd keep me until something better came along. So I made a second list. Send his boss the clips where he trashes work. Send his parents the clips where he trashes them. Cancel or lock him out of shared subscriptions. Pack his belongings. Change my passwords and cut off his access. I forwarded the voice notes. No commentary, just, thought you should hear this. I canceled, changed the shared logins. Then I packed. 15 garbage bags later, I was nearly done when he showed up with flowers. I stayed silent. A neighbor must have threatened security because he left after 20 minutes, slipping a note under the door. It was a joke. Please call. Humiliating your partner is not a joke. At 6 p.m., the bank emailed, "Reversal approved. Funds back in 3 to 5 business days." Minutes later, a text, "Why is there a tow truck at my place? What did you do to my car?" I didn't answer. I just smiled. By 8 p.m., more alerts. His boss had heard the clips and called him in. From the flurry of texts, it wasn't pretty probation. His parents were crying and wouldn't speak to him. By 10 p.m., he was ping-ponging between begging and threatening to lawyer up. I saved everything and slept at Emma's. Morning brought relief. Emma suggested hauling the 15 bags to the dump. I kept only important documents to mail to his parents, and off we went. Watching the compactor crush his designer clothes and collectibles was, surprisingly, healing. I changed the locks, blocked new numbers, deep cleaned my place. Legal note for the curious. The car was in his name. My payments were gifts. I reversed a still processing transaction after providing evidence of deception. I kept only documents to return, nothing else. Second update. The day after the dump run, I heard a soft scrape at my door. The cam showed Randy on the floor, unshaven, wearing the same clothes, sliding notes inside. Please talk to me. I need my stuff for work. My parents won't answer. My car is gone. I'm sleeping in Jake's car. I felt a flicker of pity for about 3 seconds. Then I pictured myself waiting 2 hours at that table while he plotted my humiliation. Sympathy off. I gathered the notes, future evidence, made emergency instant coffee. My machine died mid-brew, naturally, and checked my phone. 83 missed calls, 17 voicemails. I deleted almost all, but saved one from his mom. She sounded shattered, thanked me for opening her eyes, and said she was ashamed he'd treat anyone like that. I haven't called back. I'm not ready for their family's grief. Later, Jake showed up to talk through the door, claiming he wasn't at the restaurant and I'd gone too far. My cam caught him filming himself the whole time, obviously fishing for a soundbite. I ignored him, grabbed an overnight bag, and went to Emma's. On the sidewalk, I peeked at my bank. The refund had already hit. Happy dance achieved. At Emma's, we built a timeline. Thursday, the anniversary ambush. Friday a.m. Found proof it was planned. Friday p.m. Sent the boss parents the clips. Sunday a.m. Dumped his belongings. Seeing it laid out looked calculated, and I wondered if I'd crossed a line. Then I reread the messages where they plotted to humiliate me. Nope. I created a burner Instagram to peek at his public profile. He's building a personal brand. He posted a vague apology without admitting anything. Comments were a mess, friends confused, Amber asking him to call, a cousin saying grandma wanted answers. A mutual friend, Damon, texted, "Randy says you hacked him and stole money. That doesn't sound like you." I called. Damon genuinely sounded blindsided as I walked him through everything. The 2-hour wait, the public put-down, the emails, the voice notes, the car payments, the clip where Randy calls me his personal ATM. Silence then. Holy, he's been lying to us. Apparently, Randy's been telling everyone I'm clingy, controlling, and unstable. Damon apologized and asked to tell the group. I said yes. Back home next morning, new notes under the door, angrier now. You're ruining my life. You'll regret this. I know what you did with my stuff. Yes, the dump. Not exactly covert. I deep cleaned, rearranged furniture, tossed the sheets, ordered new ones, and hung the too girly art he hated. The space finally felt like mine. That evening, HR emailed asking for any relevant info about Randy's conduct. I stated I hadn't recorded anything myself and only forwarded voice notes he had sent me voluntarily. I shared 3 where he insults his boss and admits to disappearing for long breaks. Later that night, he posted about unemployment in America. Draw your own conclusions. At the grocery store, I ran into his mom. She thanked me for the clips. She and his dad had been financially helping him for years, without knowing he mocked them. They co-signed the Mustang. He'd been taking money from both them and me. She was devastated. I spared her the emails and the Amber part. A neighbor left a Starbucks card and a note. Thanks for getting rid of the loud jerk. Turns out he blasted music when I wasn't home and was rude to people on my floor. By week's end, I locked down all socials, blocked his new accounts, he made 3, changed my number, and got a letter from the lender confirming repossession and termination, with photos of the tow from outside Jake's place. Due to evidence of misrepresentation, they won't pursue me for anything. It's his mess now. Emma asked if I felt guilty. I realized I don't. For 3 years, he drained my money, time, and self-worth. I simply let his own words and choices speak for themselves. Next steps. The old car payment goes straight into savings, and I'm adopting a cat. He lied about being allergic. Damon says Randy's couch surfing, jobless, car gone, reputation wrecked. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Last update 6 months later, closure time. I moved a month after everything blew up, smaller place across town. A bit pricier, but worth the piece. I adopted a tortie named Comet, who sleeps on my pillow and distrusts every man on sight. Redirecting the former car payment into savings has stacked up over $2,300. and I booked a solo trip to Portland. Randy lost his job not solely because of the clips, though they didn't help, but for chronic lateness and a meeting meltdown. He moved back in with his parents, broke their rules, and got the contribute or leave talk. He left and now rotates through couches. The Mustang was auctioned for less than the balance, so he's paying on a car he no longer has. His lawyer told him, "There's no case against me. My payments were gifts, and there's documented deception." Amber is reportedly on again, off again. She found he was messaging other women, left, then returned a few times. I honestly hope she recognizes the pattern faster than I did. Weirdest moment. His brother DM'd me an apology, then asked me out. I declined and blocked. The audacity. I totaled what I sunk into Randy over 3 years: car payments, rent cover, dates, loans. Over $30K. That could have been a down payment or my student loans gone. Instead, I financed someone who called me a pathetic puppy to my face. For anyone saying I got him fired or that involving family was cruel, his own words caused the fallout. And if you can excuse a man meticulously planning a public humiliation of the partner who supported him, ask yourself why. Will I ever meet him for closure? No. My closure was walking out of that restaurant. Everything since has only confirmed I made the right call. If you take anything from this, let it be. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And if they brand you a pathetic puppy, reclaim your power, your keys, your peace. Then pour your energy back into the one person who deserves it. You.